Hey, buddy, what's going on?
What's happening?
August 24th, bully boy. August 24th is what's going on. And we're here in the fantasy fair, baby. We're in the fair. We're at the family table. My goodness.
We are here.
We are here.
What's happening?
I'm excited
What's going
to
on?
be here today. A lot of stuff going on this week. A lot of
Yeah.
big weeks. Big Padres weeks, right? I mean, I feel like the Padres, what they have, 5 Grand Slams this week, Paulie?
Yeah, I think 5 and 6 games, something like that.
Unbelievable. Really, really
Crazy.
unbelievable. I mean, that was exciting. I was heartbroken about the Met Yankee series,
I know.
getting the old kibosh, getting kicked out. But
I know,
that
but
was,
at least we can see them play some double headers. It's exactly what the Mets needed right now, to play some double headers.
some seven inning games, just what we all want.
Great.
7
Great.
innings. The purist inside of me is vomiting, literally vomiting. So disgusting. But let's see. I'm trying to.
Malpal, who are these guys? I don't know. I don't know who these Padres are, but they're looking like a possible contender.
Unbelievable. Andrea is continually happy, Paulie, that you are scheduling the show yourself. You know that, right?
Yeah,
So
it's a lot easier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
now I think I got a handle on it.
You're very resourceful. Malpal, I still don't know if the Padres are going to go anywhere because I don't really love their pitching. But hey, they're exciting. They're like who was an offense only kind of team? Like remember the Rays back where they had McGriff and Vaughn and Canseco? I mean, it's hard to compare them to that. Obviously, the Padres are better. But anyway, Paulie,
Yeah.
we got a show, Paulie. We got a show
Do we?
today. We got a show today. We're gonna talk a little bit because we got to touch on it, Paulie. We got to touch on it, and that's announcer mishaps or announcer potty mouth. There's been a little announcer potty mouth this week.
Yep.
And they were sent to announcer jail for a little bit. We'll talk if it's just, what our thoughts are on it. It's interesting. All right. We're gonna dive a little bit into. Have you ever heard of the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
Of course, classic.
Is it? Is it? I don't know if it's a classic.
No, it's a classic. It's a classic Brad Pitt movie.
I mean, are you a big Brad Pitt fan? I didn't know that about you.
I like some of his movies. Yeah.
Go ahead. Number 1 favorite Brad Pitt movie. Go.
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know. Recently, I don't know. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood really sticks out for me.
You're such a
That's
millennial.
a good one. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't.
Ah.
I did not. Listen, Legends of the Fall. You ever see Legends of the Fall?
No.
That's a classic. You check out Legends of the Fall. You tell me what you think. All right.
Brad Pitt.
So anyway,
Brad Pitt's in it?
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh.
But my point was, we're gonna go over the curious case of Jose Abreu.
Yes.
Okay. Why this gentleman named Jose Abreu might be the most underrated player in the last 7 years, and where he goes in fantasy draft.
Abreu who? Abreu.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
You're good, yo.
Good. Paulie boy. By the way, great job with the banner underneath. Fantasy fan with BK and Paulie boy. Very, very techie. I'm very impressed.
I guess. If you say so.
Paulie boy and I are going to talk a little bit.
Douglas Boyle, welcome to the fam.
Who is it?
Dougie Boyle.
Oh, Dougie B.
He said I guess that movie that you were just talking about is based off a story by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
I believe it. Great movie though. Great movie.
Yeah.
Paulie Boy and I are also going to talk about our hitter and pitcher. He's going to have his two. I'm going to have my two of the most underrated players this season that are like under the radar, just destroying it. Right? They might not be world beaters, but they're just like under the radar, just enough. Very productive fantasy players. We're going to dive into that a little bit. Obviously, some trivia. And at this point in the season, what do you do in auction leagues? What do you do in fantasy leagues as far as selling and buying and all this stuff? We got to dive into that a little bit, Paulie. So that's our show.
Yep.
That's our show for today. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the lovely Andrea and the lovely Lenny.
The lady and the legend.
Without you, there's no us, guys. So thank you as always for having us here. We have such a good time. Monday night is fun day night for Uncle Bob and Paulie Boy. We love it. All right.
Yes, we do.
Let's dive into it, Paulie. So, did you get a chance to hear Brenneman and what's the hockey guy, Mike Milbury, and all the stuff going on this week? Did you get a chance to listen to these guys?
Yeah. I saw that happen because the Brenneman thing was a really interesting situation because it was happening mid-game.
Yeah.
So it was all coming in at the same time. So when I saw it, I was really confused. But yeah, I saw that. The hockey thing, not so much. I don't really watch too much hockey, but from what you told me, yeah, I've heard about it now through you only yesterday though.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's worth mentioning and talking about a little bit. I mean, Tom Brenneman. Okay, so he said something. I don't think I need to repeat it. Something derogatory towards the gay community, and it definitely has no place on the air. Now, they said he was on a hot mic. He didn't know he was being taped. You're a professional. You got to be aware of these things, right? Like if somebody on staff made an error, well, that's something that needs to be discussed and hashed out and everything. But I'll tell you what I liked, because I know Brenneman's getting a lot of heat. He should get a certain amount of heat. But I'll tell you what I liked about Tom Brenneman. In a world where apologies are scripted, inauthentic, cheap, I think that about sums it up. I mean, take the Astros, take Bregman. They were all reading off scripts. They were short.
Mm-hmm.
They were nothing. Here's Tom Brenneman, who made a mistake. He owned it.
Yeah.
He said, "I don't know if I'm ever going to be on the air again." He knew what was in front of him. I felt personally, and I know. There's people that didn't feel it, but I felt like he was being genuine. And at the very least, as a human, we have to respect that, right? Even if he said something that was egregious towards, let's say, even something personal about me. If someone comes to you hat in hand and says, "You know what? That's on me. I made a mistake. I will take the punishment." I mean, that's a man. That's somebody who is a fallible human being and is willing to own it and move on. Punish the guy, give him a suspension, and let's move on, and let's not talk about it anymore. I'm happy that these kind of errors are far and few between. They don't happen often, but when they do and somebody reacts to it with a certain amount of grace and integrity, I think we also need to, I don't want to say reward that, but lift it up and say, "All right, Tom, we got you." What's your thoughts on that, Paulie Boy?
Yeah. No, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I don't really have much of an opinion either way. I just think it was really crazy the way it kind of all went down. Mid game like that, and then he kind of just like resigned mid game. Well, not that he resigned, but he knew that he was being taken off the air mid game, which was really an awkward situation and an unfortunate one. But he was really sincere in his apology on air directly after that, it seemed. And he's an announcer with a really, really high reputation. I think his dad is like a legend in Cincinnati as well.
Marty Brennaman.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, all of that doesn't make it okay for what he said, especially on air. But you pay for what you did, and you move on. It depends how his bosses want to handle it in the future and stuff like that. But he's gonna pay for it. But there's only so much you can do after the fact, and I think he handled it as best as he could after the fact. And we'll see what happens with Tom Brennaman after that. Real quick, we got Anne Georgette in here.
Oh, Anne Georgette loves this. I think she marks her calendar and says my boys are on. But I actually want to talk about Mike Milbury.
E-Ray's in here.
E-Ray.
Hi, Anne Georgette. Hi, E-Ray.
E-Ray, what's going on? Paulie, I'll tell you what I love about our show. Lots of women. Lots of females in our room.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Andrea, you're not alone. We got Aunt Georgia. We got E-Ray in the mix. This is nice. As we're talking about women, I got to talk about Mike Milbury for a second because I see this as like a cultural thing, right? Mike Milbury says on the air, and I'm paraphrasing, something along the lines of the joy of being in a team atmosphere and playing together and being free of distractions like women. And I get it. It shouldn't have been said the way he said it. But is it worth the heat that I'm sure he got from not just the public, but the press in regard to mentioning a woman in a derogatory way, or so it seems? I mean, women have been distracting men since the beginning of time, and vice versa. I mean, that's just a fact.
Also known as Adam and Eve.
Exactly. Like that just happened. I just don't understand why it's that sensitive. Like you can't even talk about it. Like that's just a fact. My wife distracts me every day. She's pregnant. Yeah. I'm distracted. Should I go into podcast jail because I'm distracted by my wife? I don't think so. But hey, listen, you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who is mad? Andrew is right. Who is mad? Like who took direct offense to that? To where that did he wind up getting suspended or fired, or what happened with that?
From what it sounds like, whether it's true or not, that he kind of self-selected out of the rest of the playoffs and said, I don't want to be a distraction to the playoffs. But that's also coming from above, right? You also know they probably gave him an option and said, listen, we can either let you go or you can self-select out and then we'll handle this in the off season. That's how I'm assuming it was handled. But again, I just I don't really buy it. And Andrea, it's a great point. Like I don't know who's offended. And if you are offended by that, I mean, lock yourself in the house and stare at the wall because there's a lot more offensive things in the world than that.
Yeah, it's tough time to be a person of I don't know. I guess even an announcer. Even an announcer isn't safe. Just a person with any type of voice, who has any type of, even from a small influence to a large influence, just
who wants to have fame right now?
You really better be careful, man. You better be careful.
I mean, Paulie, this show right now, this show we're on right now is broadcast in 73 countries. You gotta watch what you say. You gotta watch what you say.
No, but it's true. Even on a normal channel, like even if it was just you and I and nobody around right now, you would still want to, be careful on what you're saying and things like that. But these guys are on even larger scales and still really. I mean, saying something like that women are maybe distracting during playoff season. You hear stories of players trying to women into, like in the NBA, trying to sneak women into the bubble, or like NFL trying to sneak women into that hotel, the training camp, and getting caught. One guy wound up getting cut because of it. Like it happens. It's like a known thing that it happens. Brandon's in here. BC, he's here to make some trade offers.
BC wants to make on-air trade offers. Brandon, listen, this is what I'm saying. as we're going, Brandon, just fire off trade offers. Like let's make fun of them, but like
Just
give it
throw
a
them
go.
out there.
It would be a whole new slant with this show. But I do love when sports. I prefer when sports and politics remain separate because we have too much of it. But I do love now and then when they flirt with each other because it gives you an excuse to talk about it in a way that's non-aggressive and be like, oh well, it happened in sports. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Brenneman said his piece. Let him be suspended. Move on. Mike Mulberry, I don't get it at all, but I hope he gets through this pretty quick. I don't know the guy obviously, but yeah. Anyway, let's keep the chat room free of politics too. We want to keep it inclusive of everybody. We do love everybody. This is baseball. That's our common thread. Americana and baseball. This is what it's all about. So let's just keep this bad boy going. All right.
He's got an offer for you right now.
What happened?
Whit Merrifield for Garrett Cole, straight up. He wants Garrett Cole.
BC, go back to the drawing board, kid. Chalk it up. Try to get this guy thinks Whit Merrifield is the second coming of Mike Trout. Anyway, Paulie, can we talk about the curious case of Jose Abreu? I mean, you and I. Well, let's start with this. Why don't you tell us about the week he had last week?
Oh my God! Well, he's hands down going to be AL Player of the Week. That's for sure. 7 bombs. I think he had 3 in a game at one point. 15 RBIs. He hit over 500. Ridiculous. He's easily the number 1 ranked first baseman in baseball right now. He seems to be the anchor of that White Sox lineup, and the week that he had is just insane, almost unheard of. But you know, a guy also, for the most part, going completely under the radar. You know, crazy.
I mean, Jose Abreu. Oh, and yes, Andrea. No, he wants to give me Merrifield for Cole. I have Garrett Cole. My buddy Brandon needs pitching, but I don't think Whit Merrifield is gonna make that happen. Yeah, I mean, Abreu, Paulie, I got some of these stats. Guys, you guys in the chat room, do you know how good Abreu is? I mean, me and Paulie were talking. I think it's custom in auction leagues and in snake leagues that these first basemen go for higher dollars or go sooner than Abreu, typically. Okay? Goldie, Freeman, Alonso, Bellinger, Olsen, Rizzo, Josh Bell, and maybe even this year Rhys Hoskins, right, Paulie? Like maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Go above Abreu. And Abreu is just, bro. So he's been playing. This is his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is his 7th year, Paulie. This is his 7th year in the league with the White Sox.
Yep.
His home run totals every year from 2014 to current is 36, 30, 25, 33, 22, 33, 10. Okay? Wow. RBIs. Yeah. RBIs. Hold on, I'm not done. RBIs. 107, 101, 100, 102, 78, 123, 27. Okay?
Wow.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
What else you got? Let's hear it.
His batting average. Now, this is what caught me. I don't think I even realized, and you know I am a baseball nut. I don't think I realized how high Abreu hits. Ready? 317, 290, 293, 304, 265, 284, 322. Paulie boy. The guy, how is he not in the conversation for a top 5 fantasy player?
Yeah.
Top 10 maybe? I mean, because maybe the stolen bases aren't there. He'll throw in a couple a year, right? But, like, those numbers are crazy. Ridiculous. How does an Alonso? How does an Olsen? How does a Rizzo go before him? How does a Hoskins? How does a Josh Bell? The guy's consistent. He's consistent.
He very rarely hits under 290.
Bro, 2018 was his down year. 265 average, 22 home runs, 78 ribs. You would typically even take that out of a first baseman, and that was his garbage year.
Yeah.
That was his garbage year. I mean, Jose Abreu, man, I feel like I have to apologize to you, Jose, because I haven't appreciated you.
Me. Oh, man.
What?
I thought you were going to apologize to me, because even guest Adrian says it.
No.
He said, yeah, he was giving us stuff for being on the Shy Sox train. What was Paulie Boy saying in the beginning of the season about the Shy Sox?
What were you
loaded.
Yeah, but their pitching is still TBD.
I'm just saying. They're legit. They're legit with Jose Abreu in the middle of that lineup, man.
But my goodness,
I'm pretty sure. So are you saying that Jose Abreu is potentially a future Hall of Famer?
Okay, so you bring up a good point. So I never thought about, up to probably about 15, 20 years ago, when Kirby Puckett went in, I never thought about like what makes a Hall of Famer. And then I heard it be said you need 10 years. And Kirby Puckett had 10 years, literally on the button before he had to retire because of his glaucoma, right? And Kirby Puckett got in the Hall of Fame. Okay, so 10 years. So right now, Abreu is at 7 years. And he has those numbers.
Right.
I think he is one of those guys. He might not be a first balloter just because he's so under the radar. But how do you keep a guy like that out? If he keeps this up for another 3, 4, 5, 7 years, he's in the conversation. He's got to be in the conversation.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, has to be.
Right?
Absolutely has to be. Yeah.
Like I right now, and I know Goldschmidt had a lot of good years, but I take Abreu over Goldschmidt, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. I mean, he fell off last year, big time, Goldie, and I think he's going to have a nice bounce back year this year, next year. But I take Abreu. Consistency, man. Freeman might be the only one. I mean, even Bellinger. I know the MVP gets everybody all excited, but he's having a little down year this year. Abreu consistent.
Yeah.
How is Abreu and Freeman not 1-2 first baseman, Paulie?
Well, he is. They are this year. I mean, Freddie's not up there right now, but after the start that Abreu's had, he's definitely number one. But I get what you're saying. Going into the seasons, in the off season when you're preparing for a draft, Abreu is never even in the top 5 first baseman.
Look at what Dougie Boyle said. Dougie Boyle said Abreu finished 10th at first base last year and 13th the year before. Now, the year before, I get it. The year before, 22 home runs, 78 ribs, 265. Typically, you want a little bit more production out of your first baseman. But last year, 10th, he hit 284 with 33 home runs and 123 RBIs. How is he 10th? Yeah. Paulie, can you name 9 first basemen who had a better year than Abreu last year? Like,
I don't know.
Outside of Freeman, because I would even say that Abreu had a better year than Pete Alonso. Now, Pete Alonso hit 50-some-odd home runs, but he didn't hit 284, right?
Nah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say Pete, but I know I get where you're going with this for sure. I think he was definitely higher than 10 last year, but depends what list Doug is looking at exactly. But I mean, it's possible. But I'll take Abreu being the rated, 10th baseman without a doubt. Not pay much for him in auction league. Not have to. He's a solid first baseman, and you just fill out the rest of your roster with maybe higher quality guys, and not have to worry about drafting too high, because when you get Abreu, you know what you're getting, and you gotta love that in a player.
I'm curious, Paulie, and pardon me because I have to look this up now. So it's pure curiosity. I'm curious, in all league, how much did Abreu go for? Like, I don't know why the guy is just never on my radar. Like, he's one of those guys that I'm like, all right, someone else will get him. and what have you.
I believe he went for 18 in our auction league.
18
Yeah.
to Cousin Lou. 18, Paulie. Get out of here. That's case in point, guys. Like for us. Now I'm sure some of you guys in the room are gonna think, ugh, what kind of crap league are you guys in where Jose Abreu goes for 18? I mean, 18. I spent 24 for Chris Bryant. It would take 2 Chris Bryants to put up Jose Abreu numbers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just awful.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. Dougie said 9th if you don't count LeMahieu as a first baseman. I really don't count LeMahieu as a first baseman, but even though he's eligible there, same thing with Bellinger. I mean, he plays first. Sometimes he has eligibility. I don't know if he does this year, but he's more of an outfielder now. But yeah, I mean, I would target Abreu in every draft from here on out. I wish I had him because you could plug him in, not worry about it. You know what you're getting, and you fill out the rest of your roster, and you're good to go.
I think you and I just started a bidding war for next year right now because I think we're both just so excited about Jose Abreu. Brandon, back off. If you're still in the room, Brandon, back off. Me and Paulie Boy going after.
Yeah, I mean, Abreu's looking like a top 5 MVP this year. So he really may catapult himself into the high 20s, 30s in an auction league next year, for sure.
Well,
real quick, yeah, go ahead.
I spent $24 on Goldschmidt. I spent $24 on Goldschmidt.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I really am. I'm not putting on a show here. I'm really in awe of this guy's numbers. Anyway, what were you going to say?
No, it's amazing. He had an amazing week. I just want to touch on what Andrea said earlier. I guess in a DFS, she said she picked Savali tonight over Lance Lynn, over Flaherty, and Bauer. She picked Aaron Savali over those 3 pitches. Now that's amazing because Bauer has been insane. And my boy Jack Flaherty is going tonight at 8:15, and he's warming up still. He's not even ready. But Landon and Bauer, I mean, Savali pitched a complete game last week though, so I get it. I just think that's really interesting, Andrea, for sure.
Yeah. And hey, Malpal, I don't know who put up the splits here, but thank you for putting them up. I guess Abreu likes the heat because Malpal says when the weather gets hot, Abreu gets hot. And being that it's been hot all year this year because of when we started, he's just on fire. So, and as to Aaron Savali, Paulie, you know what I say every time Aaron Savali comes up, don't you?
Former Husky.
Northeastern Husky!
Yeah.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, that's crazy. Malpal, you knew exactly when to pay up. It's crazy to draft somebody just based on how the weather's going to be for a 60-game season, But I mean, hey, the guy Cuba his whole life, and he's just comfortable.
Paulie boy, you're falling victim to the South Shore reception again. You're falling victim. The internet reception down on the South Shore of Staten Island is no bueno. No bueno. Tell
it's all right. It'll change soon, hopefully.
Paulie boy, tell Lenny Pooh she's got to upgrade. So you got to upgrade, Lenny Pooh. Time to upgrade. All right.
Yeah.
So listen.
Maybe one day.
Paulie boy, listen to me. It's been an interesting year. There's definitely some players this year because the year is moving so fast, started so late. There's definitely some players, and I want to keep this short. I want to go a hitter each and a pitcher each. Tell me a couple of guys that have gone under the radar, have had solid years. I mean, guys that you know, but like they're not everyday names that you feel like are killing it. So give me a hitter first. Let's go hitter, pitcher. So who's your hitter?
Hitter for me is Brandon Lowe, Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
He's batting .313, 25 runs scored, 9 home runs, playing every day. He's back of a first place Rays lineup. Originally, a platoon guy, a guy that wasn't really on anybody's radar to begin with. And at this point, he still really might not be on anybody's radar, depending on how much you believe in this guy. I remember us talking about him in the off season. We didn't know who Brandon Lowe was. We didn't know who Nathaniel Lowe was. We didn't know. We were confused because we couldn't tell the difference between these guys. And he's making a name for himself. Possibly he could wind up in a top 5, top 10 MVP conversation by the end of the year if he keeps this up.
Is he a stolen base guy? Does he have any bags?
So he's definitely my guy. No bags. No bags. But he's a decent fielder. Not that helps in fantasy, but he's got good numbers.
My thoughts on stolen bases, right? Guys that give you stolen bases in today's day and age are the unicorns of fantasy baseball. I think stolen base guys should go at a premium. So I like Brandon Lowe.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 4 categories out of 5 though.
Who do you got? Baseman? Is he a second baseman,
yeah.
Lowe?
You got second base and outfield eligibility.
Oh, I like the dual eligibility. I like that. So my guy, Malpal, buckle in, Malpal. I got a Padre for you. Trent Grisham. I actually liked Grisham when he came up with the Brewers last year, and then he made that abysmal error. Andrea, you love Birdie, but I own Birdie purely because you love him so much, and the guy can't hit with a lick. He could steal, and he plays 80 positions, but he can't hit with a lick, Andrea. So I love you, but Birdie, I don't know. Anyway, Trent Grisham, Paulie, listen. He made that error with the Brewers in the playoffs last year. He needed a change of scenery. They moved him to San Diego. He hit 3 home runs in a game this past week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
3 home runs in it. But at 271, 20 runs scored, 7 home runs, 14 ribs, and 4 stolen bases. I mean, that's just a solid producer. Yeah. You take him. He's on those numbers right there. He's a top 15 outfielder this year. I mean, those numbers right now. Yeah. That's just solid production. So Trent Grisham, man, I think he's going to be a good ball player. I think he's going to be like, for a production standpoint, I'm going to go out and say he's going to be a Cliff Floyd type of player. Solid, just solid, not flashy, no big numbers, just a solid Cliff Floyd type of player. Got it?
Good 4th, 5th fantasy outfielder.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Paulie, while I got you, you know who you missed out yesterday? I met a guy on was it George's show or Lenny's show? I think it was Lenny's show. Joe from Staten Island. There's a guy named Joe from Staten Island who's typically in the mix. You got to get more active. You got to get more active, Paulie boy. You got to meet Joe.
I'm gonna active. I need Lenny to do a late show. You got to do it just for me.
Lenny, you heard it here. Paulie boy needs a show to start at what, 10?
No, not that late. Not that late. As late as he can possibly go. But
10.
Just do it for me. That's all I need. For us millennials.
Paulie boy's asking for a favor. That's very sweet.
That's
all right, Paulie. Listen.
I'm calling in a favor.
Listen. All right, Paulie. Starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Give me one starting pitcher who is just under the radar.
All right. So for me, I don't know if you remember, a few weeks back we were talking about in the chat, who's maybe the second best Japanese-born player besides Hideki Matsui. We were talking. We didn't know who to talk about. Somebody mentioned Ohtani. Somebody mentioned Nomo. Whoever else. There's nobody really talk about. What about Yu Darvish? We didn't even mention Yu Darvish.
Hey,
we were talking about maybe the second best.
Paulie, do me a favor.
What?
Go grab a map. Grab a map. Show me where Japan is, and then show me where Korea is. Because
is he from Korea? He's from Korea? No.
I'm telling you.
All right. Anyway, he's the second best Asian player, maybe. This guy is 5-1, 44 Ks
Oh no! Wait,
in 37
hold on. You might be right. I just looked it up. Yu Darvish is a Japanese professional baseball pitcher. I swore he was Korean.
Oh, you're trying to show me up, Uncle Bob.
Paulie,
show me up.
Who's the idiot? I am. Yu Darvish, I apologize. Paulie boy, I apologize. Andrew, you're right.
It's fine.
You're right. I tried to make a fool of my nephew. It didn't work. I only made a fool of myself. That's it.
It's all right. Yes, yeah. Malpal, you is under the radar, man. Absolutely. How is he not? You don't even hear his name.
Paulie, listen.
Anybody talk about Yu Darvish anymore?
I actually agree with Malpal. He's not under the radar. You didn't expect much because he had an off year last year, but he's a household name.
Oh, man. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I don't think he's a household name. I don't think he's been a household name for years. I honestly don't. Because when he left Texas, was he any good really after that? Maybe he had one good season after. He's never been this good in his life.
Yeah, he's
5-1, 44 Ks, 1.7 ERA. The guy's lighting it up. He's the ace for Chicago. And in my opinion, he's under the radar.
I'm not saying he's not having a great year. He's having a great year. Andrea, I'm with you. I have no clue what I'm talking about either, obviously. I just accused my nephew of not knowing what nationality Yu Darvish is, and I was wrong. So anyway, we're in the same boat. All right, listen. You pick who you pick. That's it. Now, my guy, Paulie, is really under the radar. Okay? Because he never, ever showed anything. And I'm going to say his name. Guys, this is the guy, Brad Keller. Brad Keller of the Kansas City Royals has come out of nowhere. And in fact, between me and my friends that are in fantasy leagues, we often make fun of Brad Keller and Jake Junis about like, oh, who's got these guys? Who's streaming these guys this week? Well, Brad Keller is the real deal. He's not being streamed anymore. Brad Keller legitimately being owned in leagues, and he has to be. Pitching 18 innings, giving up 8 hits, 0 earned runs, Paulie. 0 with a .91 whip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't me. That's fierce. That is absolutely ridiculous. Brad Keller, where did this guy come from?
Yeah. I don't really trust him too much for too long. I know he's been filthy.
Well, you wouldn't trust him because this is his first year. Who trusts a guy after 1 year? Nobody. But the fact is that right now, the guy is just absolute filth. Yeah,
I feel like he was good last year. He had a couple good starts last year, Brad Keller. And what did he turn into?
Paulie, stop trying to justify your poor Yu Darvish pick by telling me Brad Keller had
my Yu Darvish pick wasn't poor.
Brad Keller had a couple of good starts. Bro, everybody has a couple of good starts in a 30 start season. Come on, Paulie boy. You're better than this.
I'm shaking my head at you. I'm shaking my damn head at you.
Oh, God, I love you.
Yes, Malpal, Christian Javier is under the radar, but a good Houston pitcher who's rarely under the radar, Framber Valdez.
Paulie, go ahead.
What? Framber?
Go ahead.
That's your boy, UMBC.
Bro,
you guys love this guy.
I wish Brandon was still on. I made a trade last year with this kid, Brandon. And, yeah, I definitely ripped him off last year. But I told Paulie, I said, Paulie, watch out for this Framber kid. Paulie, he's going to be awful. Paulie!
He wasn't back in the league up until like 2 weeks ago, and this guy has been filthy.
Framber,
I feel like there's a lot more under the radar pitchers than there are hitters.
For sure.
My boy Randy Dobnak.
I know you love Dobnak, but Paulie, I'll tell you who I agree with. I'll tell you who I have a little bit of love for right now. Actually, a lot of bit of love for right now. Sixto Sanchez, Paulie. I love Sixto Sanchez.
Sixto!
I watched his start. He throws what they call easy cheese, Paulie. Easy cheese. He throws 100 without breaking a sweat. And then he throws that wiffle ball off-speed stuff. Oh, my God. I know he didn't have a great start the other day, but watch out for Sixto Sanchez. If he can harness that, I mean, it was a wiffle ball. It was a wiffle ball a la Terry Woods' 20 strikeout game. His ball was darting all over the place. Filthy.
Yeah.
Guys, Sixto
I like
Sanchez.
him too. I like him too. Wait. Can I just go off of that real quick?
Yeah, please.
Sixto Sanchez, Pablo Lopez, who was pitching tonight, and Eliezer, I don't know how to say his first name, Hernandez.
You're going to tout all your Marlins right now. All your Marlins pitchers that you own. Good.
That's who I own. But
go ahead.
I promise you, one of them are going to be the next Jose Fernandez. I promise you. And it might be Sixto. It might happen. But one of them are going to be the ace. So I'm rostering all three of those guys until they figure it out. Because all three of them look fantastic. I'm rostering all three. I don't even care. We got our boy Happen here. What's up, ladies? What's up, Pat?
The king has entered. Hey, Hap, where's my shirt?
Where's my shirt? Man.
I'm tired of wearing this Mets shirt, Hap. I need a happy hour. Hook it up.
Hap, you can't promise something to Uncle Bob and not get it to him. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that shit.
Tell him, Paulie, your word is your word. Your word is your word.
Yeah, man. You got to stick to it. That's all you got.
You got to stick to it. But Paulie, he's from Boston, you know? I don't know.
Hey, you heard it's in the mail.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail.
That's a good one.
All right. So, Paulie, I think it's time for a little trivia.
Yeah, let's do it.
A little trivia. So, Malpal, this is for you, Malpal. We got a little Padres trivia, courtesy of Paulie Boy. Paulie Boy, look this up. All right, a little trivia. I feel like Malpal, this is going to be a layup for you, Malpal. Ready? With the power barrage that the Padres showed this week, we/Paulie Boy was inspired to do a power-themed Padres trivia question. So here we go. Who is the only Padre to ever lead the National League in home runs? Who's the only
Padre? Yep. To ever lead the NL in home runs. That's a tough one. And when I said this to you, you were totally surprised.
Well,
for the most part.
You know what? It actually made sense. Nope, wasn't Carlos Quentin. Good shot though. Wasn't Vaughn. Oh, Malpal, that was my guess. I said Greg Vaughn, and then Paulie said, oh, it was 98, and it couldn't have been Vaughn because 98 was Maguire Sosa, right? Wasn't Caminiti. Guessed Adrian, not Caminiti, not Vaughn, not Carlos Quentin. All right? We're not talking too far back, too. We're talking like, over the last 30 years. Not Nate the Great. By the way, I don't know why this just occurred to me. We're talking about the Padres. What was the name of that Padres shortstop with the long hair, short guy? Absolutely killed it for a really short period of time and then disappeared. He had a really odd name.
How long ago was this?
Probably like 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah, before my time.
Nope, not Adrian Gonzalez. Oh, the name of the Padres shortstop was Khalil Green.
Yeah.
Khalil Green.
Yeah,
I remember
Khalil Green.
You got it. I loved that guy for a second, and he disappeared. Yeah, absolutely. So,
wow,
again,
see, this actually is a harder question than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Dougie Boyle, you're on the right path. You're on the right path, Doug Boyle. In fact, I remember when Paulie Boy told me the answer, I actually remember playing I forget what baseball game it was, but there was two guys in the lineup back to back that both had 30-plus home runs. One of them was the guy we're talking about, and the other guy was a shortstop. No, was a third baseman who hit 30-something home runs. And I remember I always used to pick playing with this team because you had these guys back to back, and they just hit bombs, hit absolute bombs. But I'm waiting for an answer. But while I'm waiting, Paulie, I want to tell people, anybody, Sheffield was the third baseman, Malpal, that I'm talking about, but he's not the one that led it. He had 33. The other guy, yes, there you go. Fred McGriff, 35 home runs, 1992. When Paulie Boy told me the answer, I have to be honest with you. First thing he said, "Oh yeah, I like that, Detective Scruff." I said, "What? Detective Scruff?" I said, "Crime Dog, baby." Oh, Paulie Boy, he's so cute. He tries to piece things together and like comes up with something and throws it out there. It's cute. It's cute. Anyway, guys, listen. If you're just joining us now, here's what you missed. We went a little bit into announcer potty mouth with Brenneman and Milbury. Jumped into that a little bit. Talked about a curious case of our friend Jose Abreu. Gave a little bit of our hitters and pitchers, guys that have been under the radar this year and just producing. A little trivia, a little Padre trivia for our boy Malpal. If you missed any of that, make sure you go on demand. You go into the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network and stay with us as well because we got a little bit more coming up. About 15 more minutes to take you home. All right. Yes, guess Adrian, the crime dog. Yep. I mean, Fred McGriff did not hit the most home runs, but he was the only one to lead the National League in homers with 35 in 1992. Cool little stat. By the way, Fred McGriff, part of one of my favorite trades of all time, of what was it? Fred McGriff and Tony Fernandez for Joe Carter and Roberto Alomar. I just thought that was a cool 2 for 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
Both teams did really well with it. Obviously, the Blue Jays rode that to a couple World Series championships. Pretty cool. But
yeah, it's nice to see a win-win trade happen.
Yeah,
doesn't happen too often.
And not for nothing, Fred McGriff, he's a class act, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. 493 home runs. I believe he was not juicing during the steroid era. He was just a big dude. 493. I mean, 7 home runs short, and the guy just hit. He was a consistent producer, class act. I think the Veterans Committee is going to put him in at some point. I really do, and soon. He deserves to be in.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, very, very under the radar guy.
Yeah, for sure. It's a crime. This guest Adrian, I like him. He's on point. So Paulie,
no pun intended.
Lots of puns. Very punny. All right. So here's my thing. We just finished week 4 of the fantasy season. Okay. Most leagues are going to have 7 regular season weeks. Okay, which will allow for 2 playoff weeks if you have 4 teams in the playoffs. I know it's tight. Every league's going to be a little bit different. I'll speak specifically for ours. 7 weeks. I know some have 6 to have an extra round of playoffs. We have 7. So now you're past the halfway mark, Paulie. The trade deadline's coming up. You should have a feel on whether you're selling or you're buying. Okay? You and I are in a auction league with 5 keepers. You're allowed 5 keepers with a progressive rate every year. Uncle Bob, because he's the brains of the operation, is obviously a buyer. Okay? Right? Come on, crack a smile.
Yeah,
laugh.
I guess so. I guess.
Paulie Boy, my young Padawan, looks like he might be a seller this year. Might be a seller.
Yeah.
Which is good, Paulie. For the sake of this conversation, it helps us. We got 2 different vantage points here.
Yeah, we may come back next week and Uncle Bob and Paulie Boy made a deal. It's possible. Who knows?
It could happen.
That'll be fun to talk about.
For the first time ever we could make a deal. Because Paulie Boy and I can't make a deal. This has been well documented on this show. Paulie Boy cannot make a deal without, especially if we're both in contention, without getting a huge advantage in the deal. Huge.
Yeah, it might be a good time. Might be a good time to do it then.
Yeah.
Who
So
knows?
anyway. So, Paulie Boy, what as a seller now, what's kind of your strategy? What are you looking for? What are you looking to do? You probably have what? You have 2 keepers that you already have earmarked, and you're looking for another 3 to round out your keeper group. So how do you approach these trade conversations?
Yeah, I mean, in a keeper league like we're in, probably like right now we have 5 keepers. So right now I have my 2 keepers on my roster already that I'm pretty set on going with. I'm gonna have Bieber at about, I don't know, $18 next year, $19 next year, and Luis Robert for $15 next year. And after that, I would love to have 3 solid keepers at as low cost as possible, and hopefully they have a lot of value. Normally they're rookies. Guys like Kyle Lewis, guys like Casey Mize, maybe Alec Baum, like that. But I'm going into it open. It doesn't have to be dollar guys, but they could be single digit guys, but guys with a lot of value. A guy like Brandon Lau, players like that. Malpal, maybe 3 predictable guys and 2 upside guys. I like that. 3 guys who you know what you're going to get from, and then the 2 guys who may just explode for you at some point. That's definitely possible. But I'm really open to giving up my whole team, within the salary cap, for a guy who I can keep for maybe the next 3 to 4 years at least.
So let me ask you a question.
So that's what I'd be looking for.
So chat room, let me ask you a question. So if me and Paulie ought to conjure up a deal here, and Paulie's got a couple interesting pieces. He's got Flaherty, he's got Acuna, nobody that I would keep, right? Here's the question. If I have Dylan Bundy at 6, he'll be 9 next year. Or Alec Bohm, who will be 4 next year. If you're Paulie, who do you make a play for? Would you rather have Bundy at 9 or Bohm at 4 if he was to do a trade with me? Because I'm assuming, Paulie, those would be your 2 trade targets, unless obviously Sonny Gray at 10.
Right.
So,
right.
So Sonny Gray at 10, Dylan Bundy at 9, or Alec Bohm at 4. Which one of those guys? I actually do want to pull Sonny Gray out of it. Just keep it for right now, for the sake of this conversation. Bohm or Bundy? Who are you higher on? Chat room. I'm curious.
Yeah.
While you guys pontificate on that a little bit, we talked about Paulie and his Bohm, but it's either a freeze. When you say freeze, you mean did their value freeze? No. The way this works is in our league is when you draft him, the first year it goes up by 3, second year 5, and then $10 every subsequent year. So I got Bohm for $1 this year. Obviously he'll be 4. And I drafted Bundy in the original draft for $6, so he'll be 9 next year. So that's the value of those guys for next year. So me as a buyer, this is what I have to consider. A lot of the sellers have all-star level players on the DL or inactive. So if I'm going to make a trade, I have to make a trade based on guys that are injured and not active, hoping that they're going to come back to contribute in the second part of the season. And when I say superstars, I mean legitimate superstars. Like I'm gonna run through this list of guys, just of guys that are inactive right now that are potential targets. Ready? Acuna, Verlander, Albies, Judge, Bregman, Bryant, Stanton, Bichette, LeMahieu, Puck, Glaber, Donaldson, Plesac, and Clevenger. All those guys are sitting out there on ILs, inactive for whatever reason, and they're available in trade. But as a buyer, are you gambling? Are you gambling that those guys are going to come back? Like, do I gamble on a guy like Acuna? And Paulie Boy has Acuna, so he's right here. Do you gamble on a guy like Acuna, who was a top 3 fantasy pick, but he hasn't really produced? He's got 4 home runs, 3 were in one game. Again, I just ran through that list quick. It was Acuna, Verlander, Albies, Judge, Bregman, Bryant, Stanton, Bichette, LeMahieu, AJ Puck, Glaber, Josh Donaldson, Plesac, and Clevenger. So It's just like, all right, of those guys, who do you think is going to come back and actually play and produce? It's tough. And I'm not looking for an answer here. I just think this is a really interesting conversation topic to say, hey, there's a lot of guys. I read today that last year, there was 54 pitchers, Paulie, in the whole majors. 54 pitchers went on the DL. This year already, 108.
Wow.
108.
Wow. So doubled the amount in much less time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, a lot of that's attributed to not having a proper spring training, let guys develop that base of throwing, and therefore they're getting injured more. Whatever it is. But I'm in a position right now as a buyer of trying to figure out who do I take a gamble on, right? Because those are the guys that are going to be available. Those are the guys that selling teams are going to say, hey, listen, these are my injured guys that are superstars. I want to give them to you for like an Alec Bohm. Malpal loves Alec Bohm. I'll take Bohm in a second.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's different. It's different for Malpal in a redraft league. He said this is why I never take a pitcher before round 5. Never. But I mean, in an auction league, if that's the case, then how much are you willing to spend at most on a pitcher? You know, if you move over to that league, I mean, it's different. So if you're not taking a pitcher before round 5, then you're probably not spending any more than $20 on a pitcher in an auction league. So I mean, you're taking a big chance on your rotation there. Hap had to let us know that he mopped the floor with Taco in his season-long weekly matchup, I guess. Almost as bad as he normally does with Chappie, but not that bad. Oh, poor Taco. That's my guy right there.
Paulie, by the way, I know not everyone's paying attention to it, but our fantasy league that we drafted with in the Lenny Melnick crew here, your boy Hap's in dead last place. Dead last.
Ah, man, Hap.
Dead last.
Wow. Doing a lot of talking there, Hap.
Paulie, it seems like he pays as much attention to fantasy leagues as he does on shirt requests. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
Andrew said most she would spend is $25 on a pitcher. And Savali's cruising right now. Savali's another under the radar pitcher, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
We love Savali. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to spend my assets to get top guys. We'll figure it out. We'll report more on it as the season progresses. I want to hear about your trades too, as you guys are doing it in your league. It's always interesting conversation to hear the kind of offers that are coming up, how people are reeling and dealing. I love to hear it. The last little piece, guys, if you are in a keeper league, just always remember that there's a good chance that before the trade deadline and teams start selling, that Chris Sale and Noah Syndergaard are probably on your wire that you can keep for cheap next year. So if you got them, draft them and stash them on your IL because they might be a nice keeper to have as an option next year for like $1.
Tough to do this year.
It's tough to do. Paulie Boy tried to do it this year, but he ran out of IL
spots. I tried doing
it
myself.
But he ran out of IL spots.
Well, I had like 3 days into the league. I think one guy went on IL, so then I picked up a Noah Syndergaard who was already on IL and stashed him, figuring, all right, I had like 3 or 4 more IL spots, but before you knew it, those IL spots piled up real fast.
Yeah. And
before you knew it, I didn't even have enough IL spots at that point. So it's kind of tough to do in a year like this, but just depends on your roster.
Malpal, are you asking if you'd keep Greinke at 33 or $7 sale for next year? I mean, not for nothing, I see Greinke throwing ephus pitches and stuff. So I don't trust him too much these days. I know Sale's coming off an injury, but I don't think Sale's done yet. I would gamble $7 Sale over $33 Greinke, keeping in mind that we don't pay too much for pitching. So $7 Sale is a really good bargain, because I think on name alone, he'll go for at least 15 next year.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it was a trade offer. I mean, I don't know which one you're getting, but if you're like a bottom team and looking for a keeper, I mean, go for Sale. Go for Sale. Yeah, no. I mean, Greinke at 33 for next year. Yeah. I don't know.
My beautiful grandmother in here. She always has my back.
Andrew, my mother. My mother is in here. My mother and her sister.
Love you. Love you, man.
Yeah. I was so high on board this year too, Malpal.
Thank you, Hap.
Guys, we always appreciate you. That's our show, actually. Guys, I see, Andrea, I'll tell you what we need. I know you text me sometimes and say, hey, let's get on a chat or a video. I'd love to get on a multiple screen video, even a Zoom call with like 10 of us. And let's just have drinks and talk baseball for a couple of hours. That's what we need to do. Wouldn't you love that?
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great.
Let's have drinks one night, and we'll get Malpal in the mix.
Yeah.
We'll get Chappie in the mix. We'll get Lenny in the mix. Andrew, you'd kill it, right? And just get a bunch of us on a Zoom call and just talk ball. We'll talk Aaron Savali for an hour. It'll be great.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Malpal, I
would really enjoy that.
I saw that 3.9 million, and I know I typically end these with some memorabilia. I didn't have any memorabilia things going on this week, but I think these Trout cards and these 1-of-1s and these refractors, I think it's a sham of the collecting hobby. Topps at any point could just create a card and say, oh, it's a 1-of-1, and Mike Trout has it, and boom. I mean, of Mike Trout, and it's worth all of a sudden $2 million. Like, get out of here. Like, the Honus Wagner card is the real deal. Like, you got to wait that out to get value. Honus Wagner is a card from, like, what, the 19 teens? Like, that's a card. The Mike Trout refractor 1-of-1 signed. Come on. Don't waste my time. Get out of here. Good. I'm happy that person has the money, but whatever. Andrea, what night is good? You know what? For me, typically, any night but Wednesdays. Any nights but Wednesdays. You know, I mean, you probably have to bounce it off some people. I love Hap to get in there, Taco to get in there. Oh, we'd have a good time. See, get some FaceTime, shoot the breeze. You know, everybody could see in person how handsome Paulie Boy is. So handsome.
Not as handsome as you.
So handsome. But anyway, guys, it's 3 after 8. You guys are awesome. I love you. Thank you, everybody, for being on here. We had Malpal, we had Andrea, we had Hap, we had Aunt Georgia, we had my mother. Who else did we have in here?
E-Ray.
Guest Adrian. E-Ray's always in here. She's like fan number 1. She's the best.
Gotta shout her out.
Brandon, thank you, everybody, for being in here. It was awesome. And that's our show. Paulie Boy, anything else?
Nope, that's great. We'll see you next Monday. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Got it. Love you guys. Catch you later. Andrea, 8 o'clock.